Alright, hello and welcome to another very special episode of the BossConstructor Progress Report. So this episode is pretty special because this is the last episode in early access. The game is leaving right now, so going for full release. And so I have something special prepared for this occasion. So today I will first talk about the changes as usual. And as a special section today, I will show you some screenshots and talk a bit about the very early development of the game, which should be quite interesting for some of you. And finally, I'm going to talk a bit about my post-release plans and what I'm going to do now that the game is finished. Okay, so first of all, let's go through the changes. First of all, of course, the exploration mode is now finished, so I have provided different faction images, faction flavor text, faction descriptions as part of the story, as well as a final mission and a way to get to the final mission and to complete the actual exploration mode, which is the main mode of the game. Next, I have provided the bonus soundtrack as well as a few wallpapers which you can use. So these should be in the game folder in your Steam folder, so you can listen to the tracks if you like in high resolution, or have a look at use some of the in-game images as wallpapers, which I have in 3 different resolutions each. Next, I have added a few localizations. So the game is now available in English, in French, in German, in Russian, as you can see here, and Brazilian Portuguese. So if you have been waiting for these, you are probably not watching this video because it's in English, but nevertheless more people should be able to enjoy and play the game now, which is nice. Next, I have improved the Steam Workshop support. So basically you can now play against boss ships which we have downloaded from the Steam Workshop. So basically you just subscribe to boss ships in the workshop and they will afterwards pop up randomly whenever a boss ship is to be spawned. So in the skirmish mode, in the exploration mode, in the challenge modes and so on. Which should be quite fun actually. So you can build your own boss ships. There's a description in the guide section how to do it. Upload it to the workshop and have other people play against your ship. Maybe I will also publish some statistics later on which boss was the most powerful or the most fun to play against, and so on. Okay, and then since it was like the final few patches, I have focused very much on improving the overall performance of the game. Which I fortunately succeeded in, so the game should run at a much higher and a much more steady frame rate than it did before, which should provide sufficient performance on even slightly weaker systems. And I've also spent a lot of time fixing bugs, like all the bugs which were reported in the forum should be fixed now, as well as all the bugs which have been tracked by the automatic bug reporting algorithm. And so the game should be pretty stable and bug-free now. If you find bugs nevertheless, just report them as usual and I will fix them ASAP. Alright, so now let's get to the fun part. A brief history of the game. So this is mainly screenshots. I will give a bit of context, but mainly you can just enjoy the great artwork that the previous versions had. So this is from the very first prototype version. This is almost 10 years old. And you can see it has some amazing polygon artwork. It has some amazing UI where you basically control each module via the UI. and it has a minimap. So it's pretty much done already. Basically, the reason why it looks so crappy and why it is so UI heavy is that I sort of thought that I could get around using like a 3D engine, a 3D framework, and I could do everything in GTK, whatever the UI framework is. As it turns out, no. However, it was pretty convenient to have like the ship editor, because you have all these UI elements you can use, and yeah, so this is how the first versions looked like. Needless to say, at some point I switched, and this was like the very first 3D accelerated version of the game. There's very different module graphics and also a very different physics system than it does now. Maybe if you look very close here, you can see that these modules are slightly deformed, and that is actually how the old physics worked. So the chips did not consist of fixed boxes, but more of like a grid. And if you slam into a wall, you could have a permanent dent in your ship, which was sort of cool but sort of buggy at the same time. Also, if you ran really fast into something, then your ship would start to wobble around a bit, and it was pretty fun, but as it turns out, it was also sort of very bug heavy and problematic, so I had to change this at some point. Alright, so sort of the editor evolved a bit as well. However, there was the problem now that the editor was running in the standard, Windows, Decay, whatever system, while the actual gameplay was in this 3D window, which was sort of a very embarrassing gap, so to speak. Alright. Another thing that previous versions had was a multiplayer mode, actually. Yeah, you probably didn't know about this, but the game started out as a multiplayer game, mainly because I didn't want to do AI. However, there are many reasons why I did not pursue this further. So, if you're interested, I can elaborate on my thoughts some more, but yeah, I guess for now, my personal experience is that as an indie developer, you should not go for a multiplayer title, because it is way too hard to, first of all, make a good and solid multiplayer game, to support and maintain it, as well as to maintain a sufficient player base for, people to find another person to play against. So, so instead I went for a more mission-based system. Yeah, here you can see how I was trying to rip off the Star Trek LCAS design and layout, which I still sort of like, but I guess it's sort of not okay to do so, so I abandoned that as well. So this is how ships looked like in the, sort of intermediate versions of the game. Can already see that there are multiple module styles, and there wasn't really like an art direction or like any consistency between the different modules. So some of these were 3D rendered, I think, like the solar panel, and others were vector. It was pretty bad, I mean, it was not supposed to be finished at this point, but this is where we've been coming from. Okay. Good. So what did I do when I decided not to have multiplayer anymore? Well, I went for a mission-based game design, so to speak. So you had different sectors, which had different, requirements for your ship, which had different tasks, and where you could go for a high score. And every mission had sort of like a twist, you had to be very fast, or you had to navigate through a maze, or have to navigate without using a certain module, and so on. It was sort of interesting, but the problem here was that it didn't scale very well. So first of all, if a mission takes a player like 5 minutes, for example, and you want to provide an entertaining experience for 5 hours or 10 hours, then you would have to have really many different sectors, which each should be different and interesting, and it would be really hard and really problematic to do. And also it's sort of gamey, it's sort of artificial, because in real space you obviously don't have these walls or anything like that. So that was that. This is actually the first version which was fully in a 3D accelerated environment. So I scrapped the Decay UI thing and now had everything here in 3D. Yeah. This was sort of an intermediate space fight. And yeah, at this point, which was in mid-2013, this looked actually quite similar to how it looks nowadays. So it was already the UI layout and the panel structure and the basic button look and feel, which hasn't changed too much since then. Well, I mean, I tweaked it a bit, but basically this is how it went. Yeah, and then Greenlight happened. So I went on Greenlight in late 2013, and about half a year later the game has been greenlit, which is great. And yeah, thank you to everyone who voted for it, by the way. And yeah, then it took me about half a year more until November 4th, when I was sort of ready to start early access. Yeah, and I guess you pretty much know the story since then. There have been like 180 something patches and many really great people in the community who helped me, fix and improve the game. And I think the game has evolved quite a bit from this stage, and I've added many new features, fixed a lot of stuff. Yeah, and I think it has become quite a fun little game. Alright, concluding here, let's talk a bit about my post-release plans. So I plan to do 3 bonus DLCs, which you will get for free just by owning the game and having it in the library. And you can actually suggest and vote for what you would like to have in these bonus patches. So first of all, there is this thread in the forum, post-release plans, where I have some possible suggestions for what I could add. But you can also add your own suggestions. And I will leave this open for a few weeks. And then I will let you vote for the different items in game. And, well, I guess the items which receive most votes will be in the bonus DLC patches. Alright, in order to access these as soon as possible, and if you're interested in the game development in general, I recommend opting into the beta branch from your Steam properties, which will allow you to get these new features as soon as possible, and also help me fix bugs and find issues that are in the new features. Alright, this pretty much concludes this progress report for today. Yeah, it has been a huge lot of fun working on BossConstructor, and I think I will, continue working on it and improve it as much as I can. If you haven't bought the game yet and are interested, just go to YouTube, watch some videos, watch some reviews, and make up your mind if it could be for you. Other than that, I have some more plans for what I'm going to do after BossConstructor. And if you're interested in those, just follow me on Facebook or on my blog, which is bossconstructor.com. And yeah, I'll keep you up to date. And yeah, for now, thank you for watching and goodbye.